What is God? Is God a personal being with human-like qualities, or is God something more abstract and beyond our understanding? These are questions that have puzzled philosophers and theologians for centuries, and Baruch Spinoza was one of the first to offer a unique and controversial answer. Spinoza was a 17th-century Dutch philosopher who argued that God was not a separate being from the universe, but rather the very essence of the universe itself. This idea, known as pantheism, stands in contrast to the traditional belief in a transcendent God who exists beyond the natural world. According to Spinoza, God is the immanent cause of all things. In other words, God is not a personal being who intervenes in the world and causes events to happen, but rather the ultimate cause of everything in the universe. This view of God was highly controversial at the time, and Spinoza faced criticism and persecution for his ideas. However, his concept of God as the underlying substance of the universe has had a lasting impact on philosophy and theology. But what does it mean for God to be the immanent cause of all things? To understand this, we must first examine Spinoza's concept of substance. For Spinoza, substance is the fundamental reality that exists independently of anything else. It is the building block of the universe, and everything else is either a modification of substance or a mode of substance. According to Spinoza, there is only one substance in the universe, and this substance is God. This means that everything in the universe, including human beings, is a part of God. This may seem counterintuitive, as we are used to thinking of God as a separate being from the world. But for Spinoza, God is not separate from the world, but rather the very essence of the world. As Spinoza wrote, by substance, I mean that which is in itself, and is conceived through itself, in other words, that, the conception of which does not depend on the conception of another thing from which it must be formed. In other words, substance is self-caused and self-sufficient. It does not depend on anything else for its existence. And for Spinoza, this substance is God. But what about the traditional attributes of God, such as intelligence, will, and emotions? For Spinoza, these are not attributes of God, but rather modes of God. A mode is a modification of substance, and it depends on substance for its existence. For example, a chair is a mode of wood, and it depends on the wood for its existence. Similarly, for Spinoza, intelligence, will, and emotions are modes of God, and they depend on God for their existence. They are not qualities that God possesses, but rather expressions of the nature of God. This may seem like a radical departure from traditional beliefs about God, but for Spinoza, it was a necessary consequence of his philosophy. According to Spinoza, everything in the universe is determined by the laws of nature, and this includes human actions. As he wrote, the order and connection of ideas is the same as the order and connection of things. This means that everything that happens in the world, including human actions, is determined by the laws of nature. There is no room for free will or personal choice in Spinoza's philosophy. This view of determinism may seem incompatible with the traditional belief in a personal God who can intervene in the world and answer prayers. But for Spinoza, the laws of nature are simply the expression of God's nature. As he wrote, all things proceed from God's nature, and are so far good as they proceed from his nature. In other words, everything that happens in the world is a manifestation of God's nature, and therefore it is ultimately good. This does not mean that everything that happens in the world is immediately good or desirable from a human perspective. But for Spinoza, the ultimate goodness of everything lies in the fact that it is a part of God's nature. Spinoza's concept of God as the immanent cause of all things may seem abstract and difficult to understand, but it has had a profound impact on philosophy and theology. His idea that everything in the universe is a part of God challenges the traditional belief in a separate and transcendent God, and it forces us to think about the nature of reality in a new and profound way. Spinoza's philosophy may not be for everyone, but it is an important contribution to the ongoing conversation about the nature of God and the world we live in. I hope this discussion of Spinoza's idea of God has been interesting and thought-provoking for you. Spinoza's philosophy may challenge traditional beliefs about God, but it is an important contribution to the ongoing conversation about the nature of reality. If you found this discussion helpful, please share it with your friends and followers. And if you want to stay updated on new content like this, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great day.